Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sift through complex stories and pull out the insights that will really stick with you.
And today, we're diving into a particularly intense one. It's the novel The Long Walk to Destiny by Chimezie Ihekuna.
Yeah, specifically we're tracing the character arc of Maya Isaacs. It's quite the journey.
Oh, absolutely. It's this harrowing path,
Yeah.
searching for identity, falling deep into crime, and then this incredible, almost unbelievable climb towards redemption. It's gripping stuff.
And to really get it, you have to start at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
The root of it all is in Durban, her childhood. It wasn't just a broken home.
No, it was more complicated. Her father, Samuel, divorced her mother, Cynthia, really early on. Infidelity was the reason.
And Maya was caught in the middle, overprotected maybe, but fundamentally living with this instability, that lack of a solid foundation, that identity gap. It really fuels everything that happens later.
It does. And Samuel's parenting.
Yeah.
It wasn't straightforward. He was incredibly strict.
Like that incident when Maya was 11.
Exactly. Punished for playing with kids he didn't approve of. He made her write, "I am sorry, Daddy," 1,000 times. 1,000.
Wow.
But behind that strictness, there was this deep fear. He was holding on to a massive secret.
The secret being that he wasn't biologically her father. The sources mention he was medically impotent.
Right. So he knew. And he kept it hidden, partly because Cynthia had had this long affair. He even sort of justified the divorce to himself, calling her names like infidel, jump around.
So the whole family dynamic was built on this unspoken thing. A lie, essentially.
A total time bomb.
Uh-huh.
And then, fast forward 5 years, she's in secondary school.
And a boy named Craig kind of lights the fuse.
Yeah, this troubled kid, Craig. He just drops this bombshell suggestion. Maybe Samuel isn't her real dad.
She gets angry, pushes back, obviously. But you can imagine.
Oh, the seed is planted. It haunts her.
Until she finally confronts Samuel.
And he breaks down, tells her about Cynthia's affair. The divorce back in December 80, how Cynthia just handed Maya over when she was only 2 months old.
He stresses how much he loves her, that he chose her.
Which touches Maya. It does. But even then, she senses something's missing. The why. The full truth about his impotence. Why the secret was so crucial.
And that fractured sense of self, that incomplete story, that's really the engine for her whole identity crisis, isn't it?
Completely. She feels adrift, like she has to find her own destiny somewhere else. Which makes her so vulnerable. The way this psychological backstory drives the plot is just incredible. It's honestly why grabbing a copy of The Long Walk to Destiny is so worth it. You really see how deep that damage goes.
Okay, so she has this huge emotional void. She's looking for belonging, for answers.
And that vulnerability leads her straight back to Craig. She sort of admires his easy ways, his confidence maybe.
And he introduces her to someone.
Yes, Ms. Diana. A teacher at her school, but that's just a cover.
A front for recruitment.
Exactly. For this group called the Alternative Lifestyle Club, the ALC.
So
it is. Mrs. Diana specifically targets kids from broken homes, promising them, the life they never had. It's all based on this strange, mystical blueprint from some book.
A blueprint.
Yeah, by a Dr. Stephen Micah. And it required precisely 39 members for the whole thing to work, apparently.
And let me guess, Maya is number 39.
She is. The final piece. But the initiation, it's horrific.
That happened.
They call it the sexual unveiling. She's assaulted by Craig. Then there's this ritualistic bathing by other members, and she gets crowned with an ALC chain. Handed a manual for their rules, the 7-point creed.
God, that's brutal. Talk about a point of no return. They weaponize her trauma instantly.
And immediately isolate her further. Just 6 months later, the ALC tells her what to do next.
Which is?
There's a huge fight with Samuel. Provoke him physically, slap him until he loses control and hits her back.
Yo.
And right on cue, Miss Diana shows up. With police, lawyers, the whole setup. Samuel's arrested for child abuse.
Oh my God.
He gets fined 10,000 rands, a hefty sum. And Maya. She gets court permission to leave home and live with Craig on the edge of Durban.
She uses the system, or rather the ALC uses her and the system, to sever her last tie, even an imperfect one like Samuel.
It's chilling how calculated it is.
Yeah.
The ALC is this really complex, disturbing creation in the novel, how they operate, that whole blueprint. It creates such high stakes. You really get the full twisted details of their organization in the book, The Long Walk to Destiny. It's fascinating in a dark way.
Okay, so she's cut ties, she's with Craig, fully under the ALC's influence. What's next for her?
Craig lays it all out. The path to what the ALC calls influence, affluence, and functionality.
Which involves?
3 main pillars: stealing, prostitution and drug trafficking.
Right into the deep end.
Immediately. Her first big assignment is intense. April 30th, 2000. She's told to assassinate Van Brussels.
But chairman of Louisville Shipping Company, a major figure.
And a gold merchant. She gets to him under the guise of a scholarship interview.
The irony. The person who could represent legitimate opportunity
Becomes her target. He pleads with her, apparently, but she follows orders. Shoots him twice. Leaves, thinking the job is done.
Wow. And does she just keep going down this path?
Yeah, the assignments ramp up. Prostitution across southern Africa, Harar, Maseru, Gaborone. The book really shows the scale of the ALC's network.
She's traveling doing these jobs.
And running drugs, too. Trip to Nelspruit, Bloemfontein, Polokwane. For a while, she probably feels like she's found her power, her alternative lifestyle.
But that world, it can't last.
Never does. She gets tired of the deal, specifically not getting her promised cut just 15%. So she tries to go around the ALC on a big drug deal in Johannesburg, May 30th, 2001.
Big mistake, I'm guessing.
Huge. Miss Ayanez always steps ahead. She uses a police informant named Carr Singles, someone the ALC had planted inside.
To set Maya up.
Exactly. Maya walks right into it. Arrested. Sentenced to 3 years in prison.
After all that, betrayed by the very group that promised her everything. It's just relentless.
It is. The pace of this part of the story, the global crime, the constant danger, the final betrayal, it keeps you completely hooked. You really should pick up The Long Walk to Destiny if you want a thriller that doesn't let up.
So Maya ends up in prison. Is that just more darkness?
Well, initially, yes. The first 3 weeks in the Johannesburg prison are rough. She's fighting, just like she learned to on the outside.
Same patterns repeating.
But then there's a shift, a confrontation with an older inmate they call her Mama. And somehow it leads to a reconciliation with Mama and her other cellmates, Khadija and Mercy.
And this is where the change happens.
A big one. The book calls it a sublime turnaround. She starts changing her whole mindset.
How so?
She actually starts giving lectures to other inmates, talking about freeing your mind from mental slavery, from materialism. It's a huge pivot.
That feels quite sudden. From hardened operative to prison philosopher. Does the book make that feel earned?
I think it frames it as her finally realizing something crucial. That the real prison wasn't the cell bars, it was the mindset the ALC, and maybe even her trauma, had locked her into.
Okay, seeing the mental cage as the real enemy.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the true source of her suffering wasn't external circumstances, but internal patterns.
Yeah.
And this shift leads to probably the most powerful moment in the whole novel.
Which is?
January 8th, 2002. She's giving one of her lectures, and there's someone unexpected in the audience.
Van Brussels.
Van Brussels, alive, but in a wheelchair, lame from the shooting she carried out.
Oh, wow. Talk about a confrontation.
Not the kind you'd expect. He doesn't want revenge. He tells her he knew she was coerced, that she was, in his words, taken advantage of.
He knew.
And then he says she's too precious to be wasted.
That's extraordinary. The victim seeing the humanity in his attacker?
It completely turns the story on its head. He promises to use his influence, his connections, to get her released, to help vindicate her.
The victim becomes her savior.
And he follows through. Maya's released early, May 31st, 2002. And Van Brussels doesn't just free her. He invests in her, offers her a work permit, pays her tuition for secretarial studies in the U.S. at the Louisville Institute.
Louisville, like his company.
Exactly. And gives her a job at Louisville Shipping with a good salary, $5,000 a month. It's this incredible act of forgiveness, of seeing potential beyond the past. Honestly, this moment of redemption is so powerful, it alone justifies reading the full book. You have to experience that turnaround in The Long Walk to Destiny.
So Maya gets the second chance, a huge one. Does she take it?
She runs with it, excels in her studies, gets a 4.5 GPA, becomes assistant secretary at Louisville Shipping.
And finds love, too.
Yes, with Daniel Young.
Yeah.
He's Van Brussels' general manager and also his adopted son.
But her past? Does she hide it?
No, that's the key. She knows she can't build a life on another lie. She writes everything down, her time with the ALC, the assignments, even shooting Van Brussels, and posts it on her blog.
Wow, publicly.
Yep. www.maya.blogspot.com, the book says. Daniel reads it all.
And his reaction.
He sees her honesty. He calls her a woman of truth, love, and humbleness. He forgives her past and proposes they get married November 11, 2008.
That's amazing. Love built on total truth this time.
But there's still unfinished business back in Durban. They return for new executive jobs at Louisville Shipping there. And Maya tries to find Samuel.
Her father. Does she get to reconcile?
Tragically, no. She finds a stranger living in his house. learns that Samuel, he committed suicide years before, back in December 2003.
Oh, no.
He left a note, finally confessing the whole truth, his impotence, that he wasn't her biological father, the secret he kept to protect her, perhaps contributing to the tragedy in the end.
That's heartbreaking. After everything.
Maya is devastated, but she chooses to honor him. She vows to celebrate his memory on a specific date, December 19th, 2008.
So her life becomes about, what? Building a legacy.
Exactly. Now, Mrs. Young, she uses her position, her influence for good. She works to free her old cellmates, Mama, Khadija, Mercy. It even costs 200,000 rands to sort out compensation for Khadija's release.
She pays it back.
And she takes down the ALC, systematically dismantles it. Miss Diana ends up in a psychiatric institution. Craig gets 8 years in prison.
Closure.
And creation, too. She founds 2 NGOs, one called the True Lifestyle for Juveniles, TLJ. The other, I Love You, Daddy. Both aimed at helping kids from broken homes, kids like she was.
Turning her pain into purpose.
Completely. And in a final, touching tribute, when her son is born on December 30th, 2013, she names him Samuel.
Wow. What a full circle. From that desperate kid searching for destiny in all the wrong places.
To this successful businesswoman, a wife, a mother, helping others avoid the path she went down. The sheer scope of her transformation is incredible. It's why The Long Walk to Destiny is such a compelling read. You witness that entire unbelievable journey. Go read it.
It really is an amazing arc. It makes you think about imprisonment, not just physical bars, but the mental cages we build, right? Materialism, trauma.
And the power of forgiveness, not just receiving it, but giving it. Van Brussels' act changed everything. And Maya learned to forgive herself, maybe.
And it throws that question about secrets into sharp relief. Samuel's secret, meant to protect.
Ultimately caused so much pain. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often does hiding the truth, even with good intentions, end up causing more damage in the long run?
Yeah. What baggage, what hidden truths from your own past might still be shaping the choices you make today? Something to think about.